On this bench I have a guitar that was made in San Antonio, Texas, a Gruen. It's not George Gruen, there's an E on the end, and it is walnut back and sides. Todd had sent this up from Maryland. He was having issues tuning it. He uses a 13 to 56 string and tunes down a full step. So this has a two-way truss rod and a fairly flexible neck. So once I got that neck as straight as I could possibly get it under string load, I went over it with the straight edges, and let me show you what I found. So the first high spot was here. It's our first high spot. Second high spot. Another high spot here. Now these are the straight edges that I send out in the fretting kits. Another high spot there, here, and then one over here. That might actually be a lifting fret. Take a close look at that. No, it's not. It's not lifting. That's one of the highest spots. Here, 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 and here. So you get the idea. There's multiple spots all over the neck that need to be dressed. This needs to be dressed under string load. So I have a little tool that I made up, and I think I put it in one of the videos, a few videos back. So I'm going to just breeze over all these high spots, and then I'll come back with the straight edges and check it. So this is my little mini fret dressing file. Just very lightly get that high spot. One here. And I could feel that grab. It's definitely high enough for that fret to feel it. Here. Here. These guys. Now obviously I'm going to re-crown and buff these out. I just want to see if we got the high spots. And yes, we did. This was the worst one. I'll go over that one again. Just this guy right here. Check that again. That did it. So now, along the trajectory of the string path from the first fret to the last, we got this very level. So now I'll loosen off the strings, re-crown and polish, and then we're going to come back and start checking this intonation. That was the main reason that Todd shipped the guitar up. As I go through each stage with the scrub block, this is a scrub block I sent out in the fretting kits. I'm going to bring you in close. You'll see the frets before I touch them with the scrub block. I'll show you after 400, after 600, after 800, and after 1200. It was the top end that took the biggest hit, so that's where I'm going to focus on. So we're going to come in real close, and you can have a look at the tooling mark of that little mini leveling file. Let's do our 400 and we'll come right back. That's once. And second pass with 400. So let's bring you in for a closer look. So you can see that 400 took care of the lion's share of the tooling marks of the leveling file. Next, 600 grit. There's one pass. Two passes. There's my second piece of 600 grit. So that's essentially 4 passes now with the 600 grit. 800 grit. That was 2 passes with 800. Third pass with 800. Bring you in for a closer look. Same thing again, we'll do 4 passes, and you can hear the lighter grit. There's kind of less and less crunch as you go to the lighter grit. So this is 1200, that was 2 passes, second piece of paper. 3 passes and 4 passes. I'll bring you in for a closer look. I've got my 4-0 steel wool here. So I am going to buff this out, but I thought I would go over with the steel wool first, clean up the fingerboard, and give you a real good close look at where we are at this point. This is after we cleaned up with steel wool. We're just about to buff with the Jeweler's Rouge. This is cleaning up any residue from the Jeweler's Rouge. A quick wipe with some lemon oil, clean it up. So now that all of the fret issues are taken care of, it's been leveled, recrowned, buffed, and polished, we can get on with a compensated nut and compensated saddle. Well, Todd, this is a trick. I know you've been following my channel. You may or may not have seen me do this, but I figured out years ago when dealing with those pyramid bridges where the slot is very close to the pinholes, you don't want that return wind of the string sitting like a clump on the focal point. You'll never tune the guitar if that's the case. So what I've done is I've added a couple of ball ends. Like I said, you might have seen this already or maybe not, but that is how we got around that. Now when we pull it up, you can see how close it is to the pinhole. We get the natural diameter of the string rests firmly at that focal point. I think you're going to be delighted because we got this thing to behave, and we'll go over to the tuner and show you just how accurate it is. These were the values of the original saddle, Todd, that you'd sent up. This is the original saddle here. Of course, the cantilevered saddle gave us everything we needed to get back towards those bridge pin holes, because essentially there just wasn't enough real estate in that original saddle, so I cantilevered back towards the bridge pins, as we had discussed before you shipped the guitar. So as far as the original slot goes, these two middle strings are the only strings out of the 6 of them that fell within the confines of the natural slot in the bridge. The B string was cantilevered back past the slot, and so was the first string. Of course, the low string, D string, was the biggest problem of all, but you know something? We've got this lined right up. Wait till you hear it. The intonation on this guitar is great. I'm going to go through the tuning check and you'll see, rather you'll hear. Now the original nut, the two outside Ds lined up great. Now what I mean by that, when I fretted the 12th fret note and played the open D strings, those two, the first and sixth, were fine. The middle 4 were all flat. 4 flat, 4 flat, 3 flat, 2 flat. The initial cantilevered compensated nut, first time through I got these 3 lined up. I went a little too far with this. It was sharp, and the second string was still a little flat. It just needed to be filed out, and that needed to be filed back towards the headstock. Quick look at both cantilevered compensated bridge saddle. So there is the completed radiused cantilevered compensated bridge saddle, and this is the cantilevered compensated nut for that DGCFAD tuning with 13 to 56. So let's go to the tuner and have a listen. Here we go, moment of truth. Okay, here is our 5th string. String. 3rd string. And 2nd string. Down to the last string, and wouldn't you know, it snaps. 1st string. Let's go play some chords. This is the final view of the bridge saddle, which cantilevers back towards the bridge pins. I've never come across a guitar that had such a wide open grain. I mean, I've worked on quite a few vintage guitars with Adirondack spruce that were really open grain, but there's places where it's like 4 grains per inch. It's a nice sounding guitar, big open sound. And with those 13 to 56 tuned down a step, it really supports the lower register. That big open grain may be part of the reason for that. This has kind of a K&K style system in it. It sounds great, lots of output, no battery. Black walnut back and sides, nicely appointed. It is a dovetail joint as well. And it's a good thing there's a two-way truss rod because this is a very flexible neck. Again, 12 to 56, tuned down a full tone. But it's fully adjustable both ways with the two-way truss rod. There's the open back tuners with the carved volute. I'm impressed with this guitar. So this guitar was shipped up from Maryland. Todd mentioned he had ordered it from the company in San Antonio, Texas. So let's check it out. Well, here's a few chords just to check the trueness of the intonation or the calibration along the entire span of the neck. Okay, here's some first position chords. And chords along the neck, so G, F, E, D, C, here's B,